In today's video, I'm going to show you so many inexpensive ways that you can update your outdoor space. Did you know that you can put solar lights into a broom handle from Dollar Tree? Really easy to do. Take a Dollar Tree broom handle and pull off the end. Then with your favorite Dollar Tree solar light, you're just going to place it into one end. Now, if you want to glue it in, you could definitely do that, or you could just place it in and it'll stay in there. Then you can put it out by your patio or your front steps. Pick up some placemats. Let me show you what you can do with them in your outdoor space. I'm gonna create an outdoor pillow with these two round placemats. These are so adorable. I also am going to fill it with some polyfill. So I'll start by placing the back sides together. I'll place hot glue around half of the placemat and place the other placemat on top. I'll fill it with polyfill and then I'll hot glue it the rest of the way. And then you have the perfect pillow for your space. For this next DIY, you're going to need 2 barrel planters from Dollar Tree. You're also going to need a piece of foam and some kind of florals. So the florals I bought are from Amazon. They're these bright pink florals, very cute. You just get several stems in a pack. I started by filling up my top barrel with my foam piece. If you want to hot glue that in place, you could. I ended up hot gluing mine down about halfway through, so I would recommend adding it a little bit of hot glue. Next, I'm going to take my florals out of the pack. What I like to do is shake them just to kind of open them up and so they look a little bit more natural. And then you're just going to place them into the foam. I try to evenly distribute them around my planter. If you need to move a few, you can. And again, at this point, if you need to add some extra hot glue to hold that foam in place, you can definitely do that. Now you could also add in rocks if you wanted to hold it down a little bit more. I will probably do that once I get it outside. And then to attach it to the other planter, what you're gonna do is take one of your barrel planters, turn it upside down, add E6000, and then place the barrel with the flowers on top. Let this dry overnight, and then you can style it in your outdoor space. Let me show you how to make a sturdy outdoor side table for around $10. From Lowe's, you'll need to pick up 4 of these red concrete edging stones, and then you'll need 1 of the concrete paver stones. You're also going to need some liquid nail. So I'm going to start by placing 2 of the edging stones together. Now these are really flat and they will fit well together. And then I'm going to take a little bit of the liquid nail and put it on the edge of 1 of my edging stones. And then I'll place the 2 of them together. Now with my 3rd edging stone, I'll put some more liquid nails on the back of that, and I'm gonna place this stone in the back. I wanna create an X with my paver. So you wanna make sure the bottom half of your paver is secure to the other concrete pavers. Then I'll add a little bit of liquid nail to my 4th paver and place it on the front side. Now you can let this sit and dry, or you can move on to your next step if you feel like everything is holding secure together. I'll add some liquid nail to the top, and then I'll place the square paver on top. Once the liquid nail is dry, you have a sturdy outdoor side table. Let's create an outdoor rug for my front steps. Now there are so many different stencils out there, so you can really find something to fit your needs. I found this stencil on Amazon that I wanted to use. It's actually a floor stencil. So if you're looking for ideas, that may be an area you want to look is in floor stencils. I have also found that one of the most affordable places where you can get a large rug that's good quality is at IKEA. So I picked up one of these large plain rugs from IKEA, and I was kind of trying to figure out how I wanted to do my stencil. I decided that I just wanted to do the stencil in the middle. So this came with 2 floor stencils. So I put them on top of each other. Then I used some painter's tape to hold it in place. Now for my paint color, I went with this really pretty green color I had in a sample paint. I'm gonna be using a brush to apply it. When you're applying paint to rugs like this, you don't really need to go in a straight pattern. I have found that you can stipple the paint on. Also, you can swirl your brush as well to kind of evenly distribute the paint. You're gonna put one coat of paint on your stencil. If you see some areas where you feel like there's not a lot of paint, you could immediately go back in and add a little bit more. Let that dry, and then you can remove your stencil. I like to do a clear coat to just make my rugs last longer. I found this product last year, I believe it was last year. It's called Flex Seal, and this works great. It really does a great job of making your rugs last longer, and they're so much more vibrant. If you like watching my DIY videos, consider following me on my second channel, Liz Fenwick Daily. I post even more DIY videos over there. If you want your flowers and plants to look great all year round, but you have trouble growing plants, or maybe you're not willing to wait for them to come up every spring, you can actually buy some faux florals on Amazon and stick them directly into the ground. I found these lavender pieces that I'm going to use in my side yard, and you're just going to simply place them directly into the ground. I would love to know what you think of this hack. Is this something you would try in your yard? Yes or no? Now, I used to dread pulling weeds, but I can even convince my kids to come out and pull weeds if I give them a tool like this. This is the Husky Garden Weeder. It's so easy to do. You just press this garden weeder down with your foot, and then you're gonna pull back. It's gonna pick up the weed, and then to get the weed out, you just use the little handle and press down. Now, most of the planters I'm showing you in today's video that aren't from Dollar Tree are from Walmart, and I will link them all for you down below. So if you're looking for anything in this video, just check the description box. I'm gonna show you how to take some fairly inexpensive planters and make them look like some of those planters you see on Pottery Barn's website, particularly the ones that have that nice concrete finish to them. So when I was at Walmart, I wanted some large planters, and I found these larger ones. Now they're $20, great size, and I love the fluted detail on the edge. So I picked up 2 of those planters. Now, to give it a concrete look, I picked up a product called Ready Mix Stucco. I will link it for you down below. But the way this works is you're going to put a little bit of stucco out on a plate, and I found that I needed to mix it with a little bit of water, really not a lot of water. You're just going to want to make it a little bit more runny so that you can apply the product. Once it's a little bit runnier, I simply started to paint it onto each of my planters, starting at that bottom area, and then I went around to the top area. The stucco doesn't take very long to dry, maybe about an hour. So I'm gonna put a first layer on both of my planters. Then I'm gonna come back and do a second layer. Now, the great thing about the stucco is it hardens really well, and it creates this really rough texture appearance. Next, I wanted to paint the planters in a cement color. And if you guys have been watching me DIY, you know that I usually go to Home Depot and get several sample paints. So I picked out one of my best sample paints in kind of like a grayish brown color, and I did one coat over the entire piece. Now, after that was dry, it was a little light for me, so I wanted to darken it up a little bit. So I brought in kind of a black color and mixed that with my paint. And then I lightly brushed that over my entire piece. Now, if you have any areas where maybe you put too much dark paint, you can always go back in and add a little bit more of your gray-brown color. Really, any color you want will work for this. Just kind of use the colors that work best in your home. My final step was to put a sealer on it because these are going to be sitting outside. Now, how can you style these outside? Well, I've really been loving the faux plants this year. I know that you can buy ferns at the store, but I was looking for something that maybe I could use year after year. So to start my planters out, I'm gonna put them on either side of my front door. I'm gonna add some rocks to the bottom because I live in Missouri and it gets windy here. I'm also going to be using some foam to put in my faux florals. Now I picked up 2 packs of these faux ferns on Amazon. I'll link them for you down below, but you're simply going to take the ferns out of the pack, shake them around, and then place them into the foam. If you need to add additional rocks, you can. You can move the florals till you're happy with them, and here's how they turned out. Let me show you how to create your own personalized pavers. So you're gonna need 2 things for this project. You're going to need some Quikrete. You're also going to need a plant saucer. Now these come in a variety of sizes, so just pick up the size that works for you. Then you're going to mix up your Quikrete. This is really easy to do. You guys have seen me do this in so many different videos. So I had 2 Quikrete containers. One was almost out, so I used that to mix up my Quikrete. So you're going to fill it up about halfway full with Quikrete. Then you're just going to add water. So I'm going to mix the Quikrete and the water until it's a thick pudding consistency. Now, one of the hacks that I wanted to show you, whenever you're adding Quikrete to something and you're worried that maybe it's going to get stuck in that container, you can actually put cooking spray in that container to help pop that item out whenever it's hardened. So I'm gonna add cooking spray to my plant saucer. Next, I'm going to fill it with my Quikrete. So I will just dump it in there. A great way to level it out is just to kind of move your container side to side. You can also kind of lift it up and drop it down. That's gonna really help to smooth out that container. The other cool thing about these plant saucers is they have a little bit of indentation on the bottom, and you wanna make sure that you get that completely full. So when you pop it a couple of times, that will get all that Quikrete to settle down into those indentions. If you wanna fill it a little bit more, just add some more Quikrete, mix it with water, and then add it to your plant saucer. I did this twice so that I would have 2 stones. Let this dry at least 4 hours, and then you're going to pop it out of your mold. What I love about this is the cool texture that it created on the back side. I wanted to bring out the features to that, so I painted both stones with a white sample paint that I had. And you really want to use a brush and quite a bit of paint because you're going to have some holes because you're working with that Quikrete, and you just want to make sure that you fill in all those holes and get as much of the white paint on there as possible. Then I wanted to add a fun color just to bring out that fun pattern. If you want it to look like a flower, you could also add a yellow color or a fun bright color to the center there. Now, because these are going to be sitting outside, you need to seal them. You can add a polyurethane over the top, and you want to do a nice thick layer. This is going to help protect your paint when it's sitting outside. And these are great to add into your garden beds. For this next DIY, you're going to need a solar light and also a tea light mason jar. I need to create a string to put around the top of this mason jar. So I found this black faux leather that I had in my craft room, and I started by gluing one piece around the top to use as a hanger. So I glued it on one side, hot glued it on the other side, and then cut off any excess. Then I took some more of that faux leather and I wrapped it around and then tied it in the back. I cut off any excess, and then to add my solar light into this tea light, I took off the bottom and then I removed that little part to like activate the solar light, added some E6000 around the bottom edge. I placed it onto the mason jar lid. Let this sit overnight, and then to hang it outside, you can use one of the flower pot hangers they have at Dollar Tree. You could set this in your yard, or you could put it in a faux plant and then just hang up your solar light. Let me show you a hack for a cool drink you can try for your outdoor patio. You're going to need a large container, and then I'm gonna put 4 cans of Sprite into the container. Next, I'll add 3 teaspoons of coconut extract. I'll add in a few drops of blue food coloring and then just mix it all up. I'm using mason jars, but you can use any glass you like. Fill it with ice and then put in your drink. If you like watermelon like I do, here's a hack you might want to try when it gets warm out. You can use one of these crinkle cutters to cut individual portions of your watermelon. And then to serve them, just take a bamboo skewer, put it in the side, and it's the perfect outdoor treat. Now I love real plants, but I'm not so great at keeping them alive, so I wanted to have some faux plants. These faux cedar plants are so popular this year. I found these 59-inch high ones, and I'm gonna put them on either side of my grouping. Now let's talk planters. I found these fabulous planters, and remember, everything I'm showing you, I'm gonna link down in the description box if you're interested in anything you see today. I picked up these gorgeous planters in a pack of 2, and this is what I'm gonna put those faux cedar plants in. Now, a hack you can do is you can actually put a bead of hot glue on the bottom of your planter, let it dry. It's gonna help you move your planter around without having any scuffing. Since these planters are gonna be sitting out on my patio, I need them to stay in place and not blow over. So I'm gonna weight down these planters with rocks. It's gonna help to make them sturdy and heavier. Now, to save money, so you don't have to fill your entire planter up with rocks, you can put pool noodles around whatever you're putting inside. In my case, I'm doing these faux cedar plants. To finish off the planter, I'm just gonna add some rocks on top of those pool noodles, and then I'll put the planters on either side of my grouping. I would love to know if you would use faux plants in your outdoor space. Let me know down in the comments. If you live in a climate with a lot of bugs outside, let me show you how you can keep those bugs off your patio. You're going to need some sort of pot. I have this terracotta one. You're also going to need one of these tiki torch canisters and some citronella torch fuel. All you're gonna do is take the lid off of here, and then I'm gonna fill it up. And I'll just place the lid back on. I'm gonna take this terracotta pot, I'll put in my tiki torch, and then I'm gonna fill it up along the edge with these small black rocks. You wanna fill up the rocks to right underneath this area of your tiki torch. And then just pull any excess rocks off of your tiki torch. You can light this outside to keep all the bugs away, especially at night, and if it gets empty, you can just refill it. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Comment the word of the day, which is patio. I saw this planter on Pottery Barn's website and wanted to try to recreate it. I started with an inexpensive black planter from Walmart. As you can see on the Pottery Barn planter, they have like a line going around the entire planter. So to achieve that look, I got a cream colored paint. And then I also got one of my paintbrushes out. With my scissors, I wanted to create notches in the paintbrush. So I went back and forth on the top of my paintbrush, creating those notches. Now, the other thing whenever you're doing this technique is you want to use as little paint as possible. So when I put paint out, I will mix it with water. I will also wipe off any excess. If you have too much paint, it's going to be a little overwhelming or splotchy in certain areas. So you're going to start by taking your brush and just moving it back and forth across your planter in wide strokes. Now, again, don't add too much paint. If you do put more paint on, wipe off the excess and keep going around your planter until you get it covered with that cream paint. Now, after you're done, you're gonna have areas that just have too much paint on them. It's just inevitable, it's gonna happen. So you're gonna have to come back in with a black colored paint and kind of do that same technique, but only do it where you see that there's too much paint. So too much of that cream paint, you're going to add a little bit of the black over the top. And you can go back and forth with your paints if you want, but just keep adding paint until you're happy with the look. Now, what am I going to put in this planter? Well, I found the most gorgeous faux rose floral on Amazon. You guys, this looks so real and I don't even have to water it. So I'm gonna add that to this planter, and then I'll also add in some rocks to make it look more realistic. And here's how this planter turned out. Now, if you want to add some solar lights to your landscaping, I have a great hack for you. So you're going to want to pick up a solar light at the Home Depot. You're also going to pick up these wood legs. Now, I got 6 for this project because I wanted to make 2 solar lights. So you're going to start by removing the screw that comes in those legs. So I removed all of the screws from the legs. Then I wanted to drill a hole in the center of the leg. So I found a drill bit that was the size of my solar light base, because what I want to do is thread these onto the solar light base. So I drilled a hole in the center of each of the legs. Next, I wanted to stain these. So I used a medium stain color. Now I'm only going to have one wood piece that's going to be at the top. So I added the stain to the top of that one and on the sides, and I wiped off any excess with a foam brush. Now for my other 2 pieces, I just stained around the outside area and then wiped off any excess. And I repeated this for all 6 of my legs. So I have 2 wood pieces where I did the top and the sides, and then 4 where I just did the sides. I let these dry completely, and then my next step is to add them to my solar lights. I really love these solar lights from the Home Depot. They're really substantial and pretty. So I'm gonna thread on my wood pieces. Now for some reason, these solar lights came with this little rubber piece, and I thought this is perfect to act as a stopper at the bottom of these wood pieces. So I put on 3 wood pieces on one solar light, and then I added on that little rubber piece to the bottom and then put on the stake. I created 2 solar lights that looked exactly alike, and then I added these to my flower beds outside. And here's how they look at night. If you don't like seeing your hose sitting outside, here's a hack. Grab one of these really cute planters at Walmart. Drill a hole in the side that's big enough for your hose to fit through. Next, you can set this planter next to where your faucet is, put the hose inside, and then anytime you need to use your hose, you can pull it out. And then when it's time to put it away, it's gonna fit nicely in the planter. Or you could try this. You can use a dog collar to store heavy items in your garage, like a hose. Just place the dog collar around your hose and hang it on any hook. You know, whenever you get a new rug and it kind of curls up on the edges, I have a product, it's called Fiber Lock, and it's almost like a paint that you brush on the edge of your rug, but it's gonna help to hold your rug down. Also, it's going to help hold it in place over time so it's not gonna be moving around. So I'm gonna place this product on all 4 corners. You wanna let it dry for a few hours before you flip your rug back over. So I let the rug dry overnight. It's the next day now, and I'm going to flip the rug over and position it where I want it on my patio. I definitely recommend when you're putting your patio together to not skip the rug, because it helps to ground your furniture and really bring together that cozy vibe outside on your patio. Do you guys remember when I created a ring bowl using a regular balloon? That was a really fun DIY, and I thought, what if we did it for a planter? So I got a regular balloon and blew it up, and then I decided to put some Quikrete around this balloon. So I mixed together a little bit of Quikrete and water. Now, putting the Quikrete on the balloon was a little tricky. I kind of had to add it just with my hands and make sure that I had it completely covered. I continued to add the Quikrete around my balloon. I smoothed it down as much as possible. And then I placed it so that it could dry overnight. It's actually dried for a few days. I still have the balloon in here. So my next step is to pop the balloon. So this actually looks a lot better than I thought it would be and is a lot more sturdy. So from here, it does have like some jagged edges. I actually like that, but if you wanted to kind of cut those down or just kind of pull them off, you could do that. I'm gonna be adding in some faux succulents to this planter. It can be challenging to keep your furniture clean, so let me show you a DIY cleaner hack that you can do to keep your furniture clean. You're gonna need any spray bottle. You're also going to need some dish soap and some isopropyl alcohol and water. I'm gonna start by filling up my spray bottle with 2 cups of water. I'm gonna add in 2 tablespoons of the dish soap and 4 tablespoons of alcohol. All right, I'll just add back on the lid and shake it up. This is great to clean off any of your outdoor furniture. You can even use it on your windows. These solar lights would work perfect in any outdoor space. I'm gonna show you how I hung them up on my patio. I found the best outdoor cleaning tool that you may need for your home this year. I know I definitely needed it. This is a cleaning tool that extends so high. It has several extenders so that you can extend it all the way up to practically the top of your house. But if you need to clean things like your windows, if you have a lot of cobwebs that get up on the top of your roof area, you can definitely use this. I just think this is a great cleaning tool and one that I'll be using all summer long. You guys, I have found so many faux stems on Amazon's website. This next faux stem I definitely wanted to put outside. And if you guys love real flowers, you can definitely use those. I have several real flowers at my house. I was trying to find items that I could reuse year after year. So I picked up a terracotta planter from Walmart and I'm gonna add some rocks to the bottom. Now this weighed quite a bit, but just for a little bit of drainage and stability. I also added in a foam piece and then I found these gorgeous florals on Amazon's website and I'm going to take them out of the pack, shake them around and place them into my floral foam. And here's how this planter turned out. In the Dollar Tree Plus section, one of the new items I was excited that Dollar Tree has added are their wreaths. They have some cute ones. They're not too big, but they have some pretty ones. And the one I was most excited about was this lavender wreath. But when I got it home, I realized it wasn't really that full. So I thought, you know what? I can use some greenery that I have to really elevate this wreath. And that's what I did. So I went through some of my greenery and I found these stems from Dollar Tree as well as Hobby Lobby that were really similar. And I just cut off 4-inch pieces on that greenery. And then I'm gonna go around and anytime I see an opening or an area that's not as full on the wreath, I'll add some hot glue to the base and put that greenery on. As you can see, I didn't add that much and it made a huge difference on this wreath. And you can use these wreaths to hang up in your outdoor space. Now, I always like to add solar lights to my front porch. You can set these on your steps. You can also put them in planters. That's a really good look. These are a pack of 4 that I found at the Home Depot. So let me show you a DIY with these. So I'm gonna be using the top part of these solar lights. These solar lights are really nice. All you have to do is pull this out right here, and then you'll twist them back together. Instead of using the stakes, I want these solar lights to sit on my steps. So I picked up some terracotta pots at the Home Depot in 2 different sizes. So to attach them, I'm gonna add a little bit of E6000 to the bottom of my solar light, and then I will place it in the opening of the terracotta pot. Then I'm just gonna place them over here on the step. I'm gonna add 2 more to this side. Dollar Tree has these really cute mushrooms out, and I think they would be so adorable in your landscaping. Now, if you don't like the colors, you can always spray paint these. I took mine outside and spray painted them with one of my favorite spray paint colors. It's the cement color. I did 2 coats, let that dry, and then I added them into my plants. Now, a hack you can use every year to store your pillows so that you're not keeping them outside, because when you keep them outside, they get all dirty. You can put your pillows in a waterproof bag. Now, these bags you see a lot of times around the holidays for trees. This is a great way to store your pillows. You can put them in your garage or basement when it's cold outside and pull them out for the warmer weather. Let me show you how to use your muffin tins for your next outdoor get-together. You can place all of your condiments inside here so that it's easy for your guests to serve themselves. The next time you're cooking your rice and you start by washing your rice, do not throw out that water. You can use it as nutrients for your plants. Simply just fill a mason jar with that rice water and add it to your plants. Another tip is you want to fill your planters up with enough water. So what I like to do is I will water my plants, let the water go down, and then I'll water them again just to make sure they have enough water. I have another solar light idea for you. So from Dollar Tree, you're going to need to pick up these clear bowls, 2 for each. You're also going to need some deck solar lights. So you're going to start with one of your clear bowls. Then you're going to make sure that you have the deck solar light turned on, place it into your bowl. Then you're going to put some E6000 around the top edge of your bowl, put one of the other bowls on top, and then repeat these steps with however many solar lights you'd like. Then you can put this out in your landscaping to create this really pretty glowing dome at night. I've never attempted to put a water feature together before, but with the new planters that they have in the Dollar Tree Plus section, it really made me want to try. So you're going to need 2 planters for this water feature. I went with one of the $5 planters, and then I also picked up a bowl over in the bowl section. It may be in the organization section, but you need something that's just really wide for your base. I'm going to spray both of these pieces with 2 coats of a terracotta spray paint. I'll start on the bottom. Once that dries, I'll flip it over and spray paint the top. So I wanted to attach the 2 planters together. So I put E6000 on the bottom of my top planter and then put it on the base, but then I realized I forgot a step, so I pulled it off before it had a chance to dry. I realized that I forgot to add drainage holes to my bottom planter. So just using a screwdriver, I added 4 drainage holes to the bottom of that larger planter. The next thing I wanted to do was add rocks to that bottom planter just to create an extra level of drainage and add weight. So I added a layer of rocks at the bottom, and then I put the planter on top of the rocks. The other thing this is going to do is it's going to create an area on that bottom planter where I can plant my plants. Next, I will plant some flowers around the bottom planter. The only thing we have left to do is our top planter. So I'm going to put some additional rocks in our top planter. I'll fill it up with water. Next, I need to add my solar water feature pump to the top of my water. This I picked up off of Amazon. I will link it for you down below. And this is what's going to create our fun water feature. So I will add that to the top of my water. And here's how the entire water feature turned out. After using the solar fountain pump, I have some recommendations for you to how to make it work a little bit better for your project. Now, this really likes full sun. So when the solar pump is in full sun, it's going to really spray high. And I found that mine actually sprayed too high. So in the future, I would probably pick a wider base to my planter just to make sure all the water stayed within my planter. Now, if you have an area that's not full sun and it's shaded, it will just have a little bit of water trickle out. Both look really nice, but I wanted to share with you the difference in case you decide to pick up this pump. For our next DIY, I picked up a white wire basket at Dollar Tree. Now, did you guys know that you can actually bend these pretty easily? I'm gonna start by bending the base of this wire basket, and I'm gonna just push it in, creating a fun decorative shape. After I have it the way I want, I'm gonna spray paint it with 2 coats of a blue spray paint. Next, I'm gonna fill it up with these decorative items I picked up in the shore living section. They're these really pretty decorative pieces that are wrapped with nautical rope and macrame. I hope you're able to find them this year. And I'm just gonna cut off the tags and I'll fill them into my blue container. And here's how I styled it outside. Let me know down in the comments what you're going to be trying. I love knowing your opinion, and make sure you subscribe because I want to see you back here, and I'll see you in our next one. Bye.